Your home is your most valuable asset, so it's important to know everything you can to protect it and your family. I'm your host, Dan O'Malley, along with your home expert and owner operator of Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration, Daniel Cook, and we are going to know your home. Daniel, on our first episode of Know Your Home, we talked about the top 3 threats to your home. Do you remember the most common threat to the home?
Well, Dan, especially here in the Metroplex, DFW area, it has to be severe thunderstorms, comes in with high winds, heavy torrential rain, sometimes big pockets of hail, and occasionally we have those unfortunate tornadoes. So, by far, severe weather is one of the most challenging things to navigate.
That is correct. And we want you to know the how and the why when it comes to severe weather versus your home. So we've invited Derik Kline to join us. He's the CEO and founder of Hail Trace. Thanks for being here, Derik.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dan.
So, in your experience, which is vast, what do we need to do before a storm to protect our home?
Well, the biggest thing, when you think about severe weather, first of all, there's not really a ton that you can do, right? The Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature is going to do, and unfortunately, in Dallas, it likes she likes to work a lot more there than a lot of other places. But the big thing is just I would say securing items, right? So, if you can keep debris and things like that from being able to impact your car. If you can get your car in the garage, that's always, you can save some stuff that way. But outside of that, your home is your home. You can't really, it's not like you can strap your roof down. You can't put a pillow over the top for the hailstorms. It's going to do what it's going to do. It's really what you do after the storm that probably has the biggest impact, and that's kind of where Daniel probably comes in to be able to assist with those things.
And we'll get to the best practices and things for after the storm in just a little bit. Part of what I know that you are working on is the warning systems that can also be a huge benefit to homeowners.
We do like some forecasting and things like that. So, for example, right now, really trying to give people a heads up on when and where the most likely parts of the country are for severe weather. So yesterday I spoke in front of a large group talking about the threat for hail across the United States this year. Last year was a year that was actually a below average storm season when it comes to hail, near average for tornadoes. And so, what we focus on while we do this long-term forecast where we'll kind of look at the entire year and go, look, this year is going to be average. If you're in Dallas, expect, 1 to 2 storms, 1 to 5 storms, whatever the numbers are. A lot of what we do is really almost in the moment. So it's, okay, a storm is now impacting this area. And then that allows people to really be able to respond quickly.
It's really impressive to think about because until today, I didn't know a hail forecast existed. I'm familiar with hurricane forecasts. We see them every year. Here's what to expect. And then at the end of it, at the end of hurricane season, here's how many we had so we could see how accurate that forecast is. Is a hail forecast similar to the hurricane? Like you said, you can expect X number of storms this year?
That's about what we try to do, right? So it's an average number. So for example, on the hurricane forecast, what you're going to see is, we expect 17 tropical storms, and we expect, 10 to 13 hurricanes and 3 to 5 major hurricanes. They really, they try not to go into we will see or we won't see a landfall hurricane in the US. That's pretty difficult to do, but sometimes you'll focus in on better chances for the East Coast or for the Gulf of Mexico. So for the hurricane or for the hail outlook, we really try to do similar types of forecasts. And so what we'll look at are regions and timelines. And so, for example, this year we're forecasting that we should have a slow start to storm season. So some storm seasons like to kick off in February and March. While we think there will be some severe weather events, there was actually a tornado yesterday in Texas, believe it or not. While there are some severe weather events that will happen, we think it'll just be below average. And then once you get into the second half of April, May, and June, that's when we kind of think things will pick up and we'll start to see more typical severe weather season that we're used to experiencing here in the South.
So I've always felt like some level of forecasting can be bad because, like you said, this year the forecast for hail and severe storms is lower than normal. Some homeowners may hear that and think, well, I don't need to button anything down. It's going to be a fancy-free year when it comes to storms. I don't have to worry about a thing, which, of course, could not be further from the truth.
Yeah, especially in the South, we're talking about the plains. I always talk about, so there are some portions of the plains that we're forecasting a below average storm season this year. But below average for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado is well above average for Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Illinois, Indiana. I mean, you can list the states, right? That is so our normal hail season is sometimes 3 to 5 times busier than the rest of the United States.
So, do you know why it is that North Texas seems to be the epicenter for hail?
Oh, this is a fun question. I love this question. It's actually one of my favorite questions. There are several things. So I'm going to give you the very high level, the meteorological side of it, and then we're going to go into some more micro scale things that North Texas has that other parts of the country do not. So the first one is um, your your relation to the Gulf of Mexico. Very close to the Gulf of Mexico, you have the Rocky Mountains to the west. And then obviously we have the plains, which open the door for cold air from the north. So it creates three different types of atmospheres. We have the warm, moist atmosphere that comes up from the Gulf of Mexico. We have a warm, dry atmosphere that comes out of the Rocky Mountains, sinking air. So when the air comes off the Rocky Mountains, it dries and heats up. That creates the dry line that we're so used to hearing about. And then, of course, Canada releases our cold fronts. Those all create lift. And that moisture creates instability. So it creates an atmosphere that's unstable. When we take one of those two boundaries in play, we get severe weather. That happens more in the plains because of the Rocky Mountains than anywhere else in the world. So we've got this one bar, right? That's okay. We're more active than everywhere else in the world, but then we've got this second piece that kicks in to Dallas, and there are some very specific storms that I can relate to that have caused billions of dollars of damage, and they would not have occurred in any other city in the United States, in the world. I mean, this was so wild. So $1 billion hailstorms, and they would not have occurred anywhere. And what that is it's the urban heat island in Dallas. And so a lot of people in North Texas are familiar with the term the cap. They talk about there's this lid on the atmosphere, and if we can break the cap, the storms will form. Well, that urban heat island tends to, especially in the evening time, it tends to keep the Dallas metro warmer than all of the areas around it. And so what happens is as these boundaries come in, they went through areas where it wasn't warm enough to break the cap, but as soon as they get to that, you'll see storms ignite. Um, and I've got cases. I'm trying to think of the date. It was June. It's June of about 5 years ago, I would say. The storm formed just south of Denton, Texas, and it moved directly south all the way across the metro. So the storm formed as soon as the front made it to the Dallas metro. I think it was June 6th, I think was the date. It was did about $1.3 billion in damage. And so and then it went south all the way across the metro. And as soon as it cleared the south side of the Dallas metro, it collapsed and fell apart. So that storm was only capable of surviving in the city of Dallas. Um,
I remember that storm quite well for a couple of reasons. One, I was driving in it.
oh.
Two, it was the day, I believe it was a Saturday, and it was the day of my wife's birthday brunch. So all of our friends drove in it.
Oh,
and
no.
we were right in that area that you were describing, north of DFW with Denton, and then moving south because we were going north on the Dallas North Tollway. So basically we were driving right into the mouth of that sucker. And so we got stuck in that. So I remember that storm very, very well, and for a different reason than you do, because you got to see it from a satellite. I got to be in it.
And I've been in a bunch of them because I storm chase. So, I've done a lot of storm chasing, and I will tell you, I've been close. I've been really close to tornadoes. I've been in the eye of a Cat 5 hurricane. Being in a massive hailstorm with lots of hail, it's extremely scary. It's one of the scariest things I've ever done, because you can't do anything. You are stuck, and there's nothing you can do.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit deeper, shall we, Daniel? Derik, what's wrong with you?
I think we're about to start counseling now, right?
I don't know if this is a good spot to share the feelings, but we're curious as to the why.
I don't know about you, Derik. I grew up watching these storms, and as a kid being fascinated by them. And I know you were very similar to that. And when you like that weather stuff, it makes you feel different. You're not scared of it. You're more intrigued about it. So I know that's how I was when a kid. And now as we're out here in these storms, we're out here at night because we know they're coming through. We know we're going to have calls, boarding up windows, tarping out roofs. And we're in the middle of these storms as they're still occurring sometimes. So I don't know. It's more exciting.
There's an adrenaline side to it for sure. But there's also an intriguing side, right? Understanding what it takes to make that storm happen. Trying to understand when it doesn't do what you thought it would do. Why did it not? So many just, and it's all weather for me. I love a good snowstorm. I say it's all weather. I'm not a big fan of sunny and 72, but
I love how you just described my perfect day as your most boring day.
That's it.
You just walk outside
right
bored, going back in.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I could never be a meteorologist in Phoenix, Arizona, or San Diego. Oh, horrible.
Now, Derik, we have a lot of new residents constantly moving into our area from, let's just say, states that don't experience weather like we just described. Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client Oregon. I had a client from Arizona. I had a client recently from Montana. And I'm telling them, hey, we're fixing to go into storm season. And they're like, okay, so it rains a little bit more? I'm like, no. You don't understand. How can we get this information out to homeowners when they move down here? We can tell people till you're blue in the face, hey, make sure you don't have your trampolines loose in the yard. Make sure your pool furniture isn't ready to blow through your back windows. And they look at me sometimes like, what are you talking about? I say, well, it's not just tornadoes we have to worry about. We have large hail pockets of ice coming down at 2 inches at 85 miles an hour at your house. We have, winds, straight line winds, not even tornadic, that get up to 85, 90 miles an hour that blows trampolines 200 yards down your neighbor's street. And so it's just like, it's hard to understand, so I didn't know if there's a resource that they actually can go to.
There's a lot of pretty good resources that the National Weather Service has put together, especially when it comes to, how to protect things, what to expect, like climatology wise in areas. Honestly, one of the best resources is probably YouTube. I mean, if you want to think about like, what is a storm like? Show them some videos on YouTube. I mean, there's definitely going to be plenty of severe weather events, especially in Dallas. If you want to show them a video of what a significant hailstorm looks like, I don't know how to show anybody any better than like a YouTube or anything like that. Once you're in the day, obviously your local media is going to be huge. So your whatever channel it is that you like to tune into for your local TV station, they're going to be huge. I know here in Oklahoma, I'm one of the storm chasers for ABC here in Oklahoma, and as soon as the tornado watch is issued, we're doing cut-ins. So there's a cut-in that's happening. Every commercial break. And then as soon as the warnings begin to break out, so as soon as storms actually start to occur, if they're severe enough, they're wall-to-wall coverage. I mean, I assume they do the same thing down in Dallas, unless there's a Cowboys game on, of course, we've got to have priorities, but
correct. Yeah.
But
if anything, the storm might do us a favor and blow them off the field.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Right. So
you stink today, hailstorm, please.
Some fresh blood in there, please.
Yeah. No, and you're right, Derik. I mean, fortunately, there are things in place. There's warnings, there's systems, there's cut-ins with the meteorologists on the local media side. And Daniel, you bring up an excellent point. That is, we have so many people moving to Texas, especially the North Texas area. It's difficult to get them to truly understand what severe weather actually is. And when we say, like, we're not being alarmist. It's not like it's not, we're not blowing it out of proportion. We're trying to tell you severe weather here is actually severe, and it is terrifying. It can kill you, it can destroy your home, and everything that comes with it. So there's only so much you can do. I love your point there, Derik. Show them videos.
Yeah.
Show them what some of the stuff looks like. Show them the flooding. Show them the lightning. Show them the hail damage. Show them what a tornado looks like after it's blown through somebody's house and yard and life, and hope that they get some iota of an understanding. Because otherwise, you're just going to have to live through it and experience it and then be like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
I think it's tough because you don't have to live in fear. It's one of my favorite things when I talk to someone. I've got some really good friends here in Oklahoma, and they moved here from California, and they're like, oh, I'm just terrified of storm season. So they already know what's coming, right? And I'm like, look, guys, I've lived. I'm 43 years old. My house has never been hit with a tornado. I mean, I've had hail damage, I've had some wind damage, but I've never been hit with a tornado.
Yeah.
And look, 98% of the tornadoes, if you're in the center part of your home when it hits, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have some work. It's gonna be some repair stuff, but you're gonna be fine. So it's just understanding that, look, Mother Nature means business in the plains. She gets a little angry sometimes, and but if you're prepared, everything's going to be fine. That's why we've got insurance, right, Daniel? It's there to help us out when we need it. So
Yep.
Yeah, we're not just giving money for the heck of it.
no, and we get plenty of it here in the plains, so they
Yeah.
they know we're going to use it.
So, real quick, before we let you go, Derik, I'm curious about your background. You said you're in Oklahoma. I believe you grew up in Oklahoma. So,
Mhm.
what was it? Just being surrounded by crazy weather that drew you to it? Why are you so obsessed with weather?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, it started when I was a little kid. So I think I was 5 actually. So I grew up early in Tulsa, and we had a big snowstorm, which is not what you'd expect to hear this far south, but we had a really big snowstorm. It's like a 3-day long event. It just fascinated me, and then later that spring, which is kind of what really hooked me into it. My house, a storm formed right on top of my house. I remember the thunder and how loud it was, but we just got a few sprinkles, like the big fat raindrops, just a couple of them,
Yeah.
just plop plop, and just super loud thunder and lightning. And then my great grandmother's house, that was 2 miles down the road, she got golf ball size hail, and it blew her tree over. And I was like, how, like, it just started forming right here, and 2 miles later it was dropping golf ball size hail and blew a tree over it. I was just fascinated by how quick it was able to happen, how powerful it was, how it was basically nothing where I was. And so I was hooked from there. Growing up, I went to all the local TV station meteorologists. I would go about every 3 weeks and watch them do the weather forecast. I actually had the chief meteorologist in Oklahoma City come and have lunch with me in fourth grade. My senior year, I did an internship with the local TV meteorologist. And so I would get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and go do the morning weathercast with him, help him put all his graphics together. And then at 7:30, I would go to school in a suit. And if you ever wonder why meteorologists get made fun of, that's part of the reason why. You show up to school in a suit, and you're going to get made fun of in high school. But but I
And look at
loved
you
it.
now.
I know, right? So I loved it, and I'm still, like I said, I'm eat up with it. I can drive 19 hours in a day to go watch a thunderstorm for an hour and a half, and then turn around and drive back home.
We appreciate your efforts, Derik.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
All right, Daniel, now that we know a little bit more about the weather affecting our homes from a construction standpoint, with what you do every single day helping homeowners, what is it we can do before the storm to protect our homes?
Be prepared. Have some type of alert system. We've talked about this before, but make sure you have some type of alert system on your phone. A lot of people stream their TV now, they stream movies, and you won't get those weather service bulletins all the time. And so you need to have some type of device, either a NOAA radio, you can have those inside your home, but an app on your phone that will alert you is absolutely very much important. Once you know that something is coming, then you need to walk around your house, but you need to be aware of these things all the time. If you have a pool or if you have playground equipment and kids' toys and trampolines, and, all those are projectiles. Those can come through windows, they can get blown across the street, hit neighbors' houses and cars. Just protect, other people's property as well, is put all those things up, and maybe have some type of a storage system in your back when weather's coming in. And then, of course, protect your family. Make sure, like we've talked about before, be in the center of your home, somewhere in a safe area, closet, a bathroom, center of the house, lowest level. Have your whole family there, have your pets in there. Make sure everybody's hunkered down. It's only going to be a few minutes, but it could potentially be a whole way of changing your life if you're not there and doing those things.
And from a construction standpoint, you mentioning that room, the lowest point in the home, central location, not on an exterior wall. From a construction standpoint, if someone is building a house or if they're redoing a kitchen or something, is that something that can be done? Can you, on the construction side, go in and find some space to put in sort of a panic room, storm room type of thing?
Yeah, sometimes you definitely can. It always depends on the makeup of your walls and your blueprint, of course. But a lot of times, what we're finding, especially in 2-story homes, is under the staircase. If there's not already a large storage area there, we can definitely add one of those into the side of the staircase or below it, make it accessible. And those are ideal because you're talking about a large center of the home framing that's going to be well protected for this exact issue. Or bathrooms, even sometimes we can find some space that maybe butts up to a closet or something. We can extend that closet in a little bit further. So there are some opportunities there, but a lot of times homes are actually built with that in consideration, especially down here in the South. If you look into most homes, when you walk through them, you'll see there's a center portion of the house that is mostly protected from any outside wall, and it's an area that you can get in. Majority of the time it's a bathroom or a large closet or something like that.
Well, and that's great news to have and to think about. In addition to that, before the storm, from a construction standpoint, I know that you've tried telling me before sometimes there are different type of shingles you can have on your roof that can actually help to a certain degree when it comes to severe storms, especially hail.
Yeah, shingles are being redeveloped constantly. Every year, more science is pouring into this because at the end of the day, everybody wants everybody's homes to last as long as they can. They want them to be protected. Companies are spending millions of dollars on research on how to make the shingles last longer, how to hold up from the wind, adding fibers into the shingles to have more strength, making shingles that are actually more durable from hail impacts, having a rubber asphalt built into it. So there's all kinds of science. There's new shingles coming out every year. The research is there. Everybody's on the same page. We want to make sure your homes are protected, and it's just one more thing that you can do.
So after a storm, something goes through, let's say there's some damage to the home. Is that a good time to then look into upgrading the roof or perhaps other parts of the home from a construction standpoint to protect from a future storm?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have an event and you unfortunately have to go through a repair process, that is the most ideal time to do some research. As far as our company, we automatically give you those options up front because we don't want you to, have something done in your home and then somebody else tells you down the road, oh, well, this was a possibility. We want to make sure you have all that education and information, and then we can take you through the do's, the don'ts, the opportunities for upgrading, insulated garage doors from regular, oversized gutters from a traditional size, class 4 shingles and elevated hip and ridge. There's all kinds of things that you can do. Better windows. They make hurricane proof windows, as you probably know. There's all kinds of options you can actually do to help your home. And there's actually even a process called fortification. So there's a lot of different things out there that you can do to your house.
The fortification of your home is not just smart to do in preparation of a storm, especially if you live in North Texas, but it also will help keep the zombies out, just in case.
Yeah.
If you found this information valuable, we invite you to like and subscribe right here on YouTube so you can know your home. And if you are in the North Texas area and would like to schedule a free roof inspection and property review courtesy of Daniel Cook and Cook DFW Roofing and Restoration, call 833-COOK-DFW or visit the website cookdfw.com. For Daniel Cook, I'm Dan O'Malley, and this has been Know Your Home.